This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 261 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show. Well, hello, Reese.
Hi, Philip. How are you?
I'm good. We're back into our regular schedule. We had a bit of time off there, even though we had an episode, we recorded that one early, so now it feels like we haven't talked in a long time.
I know. It always makes me sad to not talk to you. But you had a horse show, didn't you?
Oh, I think I had it seems like I have 10 horse shows before.
Yes.
Since we were talking last, but yeah, all is going well. We had some good results, some good riding, and I'm happy how the weather turned out. And but now it's busy. It's super busy. Between April and May is when it kind of clicks into another gear, and now people are ready to show. Everybody wants to be doing test riding, and the riders that were outside rider, didn't have an indoor in the winter to ride in. Now everybody wants to ride, everybody wants to show. Now we're all weekends going to show. Haven't had a day off in a while, but it's fun. It's been really good, really good.
Yeah, that's the nature of our business. I think it felt like forever. We weren't ever gonna get out of that cold winter.
We were just complaining all the time.
Oh,
and, yeah. But now we're going.
Yeah, it's the same way here. We're going, and we had a really big show here last week. I actually didn't show myself, sadly enough, first time in a long time. My big mare was just coming back from some injury, from a bruise. She really wasn't anything that traumatic, but as we know, if you bruise your foot, it hurts, and so she is back today. I didn't even tell you, Philip. I got 4 1-times on her today, so that was pretty exciting. So she is coming back and doing
just
well.
Blowing through the test. Hey,
She just wants to do Grand Prix. I've decided. She just wants to be a Grand Prix horse. Yeah, I'm like, sure. You want to be a big girl? That's great. But at the show, Jane Bashir, who's been on the program, she got her bronze medal over the weekend. So that was a lot of fun.
Congratulations to her. Yeah,
that's a big deal.
A little bit of an event or convert, right? So
yeah, exactly. So that was a lot of fun. So we had a really busy weekend, and it's a busy weekend for me at the horse park because I have an event the same time I have a dressage show. So all my students are there. So it's a pretty fun weekend. It's a busy, but yeah.
How was the CDI? Yeah, that's the CDI you were talking about. How did that go?
Yeah, it went really well. Caroline Rothman won the Grand Prix, and she also won the special. And it was great.
Yeah, we haven't talked to her on the show for a bit, but yeah, she's been in a couple of other episodes. She's great and positive, and obviously a good rider, and so again, congratulations to her as well. And that's great.
Yeah, so that was lots of fun. So we wish her good luck. Everyone now is, at least the U.S. riders are heading to Gladstone.
Yeah,
so
gearing up for the big WEG selection. All sorts of good stuff going on. So.
Exactly. We will make sure that we get a couple of those riders. I got to catch up with Adrienne Lyle when she was here, and she said she'd come on the show too. So we've got a lot of fun things coming here as our riders get ready for WEG, and we wish them a lot of luck. So no, we're good. I actually have my first weekend off this weekend, which will be fun, and the next weekend we're right back to showing. So my horses get a little break, so that'll be nice. So
well, that's nice. We're going to talk a little bit later with Hillary, or Hebert about perspective. So I'm glad to hear that you got a weekend off.
Yes, it'll be great. So we have a fun show. Hillary is always our favorite guest. We just love having her on the show. So she's coming on the show. And then Emily Abbott, who is an FEI rider and trainer, is going to come on for our trainer tips. So lots of good stuff in the horse show today and on the show today.
On our show, yeah. Horse show,
I know,
our show.
Horse
What's
show.
going on? Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
Well, we got a bit, before we get to those interviews and all that fun stuff, we got a bit of news. You want to?
Yeah, sure. I'll get us started. So the USCF. The USCF Gold Medal of Distinction created for top riders was announced. To get this Gold Medal of Distinction, it is an honor of riders who have earned team or individual medals or multiple placings in international events. American riders must at least have one of the 5 requirements that are to follow. They have to be a member of a medal-winning team either on Olympic Games or World Championships. They have to be a winner of an individual medal at Olympic or WEG. winner of an individual medal at the World Cup final, winner of 10 Grand Prix in the CDI 3-star or above, or have placed 3 or more times in the top 10 at a CDI 3-star or above outside of the U.S. with a score of 70% or higher. And this criteria is not retroactive. So some things to strive for the U.S. Gold Medal of Distinction. That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty tough stuff to get that one. That's
not easy.
A little Canadian news here. I just wanted to give a shout out to Lauren Barwick. She is a 2008 Paralympic gold and silver medalist and a 3-time Canadian Paralympic athlete. She is currently ranked as the #1 para-equestrian rider in the world. So go Canada. Congratulations, Lauren.
Yay, go
nice?
Canada. That's awesome.
Yeah. What else we got?
So a little bit more news from the CDI at Kentucky. It was announced that Catherine Bateson Chandler, who is also a wonderful person, she rides for Jane Forbes Clark, Alcazar. They are headed in the right direction. They won both the I2 classes with a 73.6%, and they were high score FEI of the horse show. So that is really exciting for a U.S. rider to have such a nice up-and-coming horse. So I wish her all the best of luck for sure.
I mean, it's tough for those top riders because not only do you have to be riding, Grand Prix all the time, but you got to have horses coming up and it's not just about one horse, right? The focus has to be on this one and then the next one and then a young horse or two. And so, I mean, that's good to hear. America needs depth in their program. Everybody's always talking about that. So it's good to see that some of these riders having success at, a little bit lower level than Grand Prix, when they're doing any FEI level, it's tough to ride those levels. It doesn't matter.
Yes, exactly.
To have horses to have success at it. So, what's the next piece? I think we got some USDF news up next. So
a little bit of USDF news. So USDF is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the instructor trainer program, and they wanted to honor some instructors that have been part of the program as honorary instructors. And that list is Charlotte Bradal Baker, Michael Barrisone, Sue Blinks, Kathy Connolly, Robert Dover, Jan Ebling, Michelle Gibson, Lyndon Gray, Ann Gribbins, Hilda Gurney, Courtney King-Dye, Carol Lavelle, Debbie McDonald, Arlene Tooney Page, Stephen Peters, Michael Poulin, Kathleen Rain, Jessica Ranshausen, Gary Rockwell, Gunter Siddell, Betsy Steiner, Christine Traurig, Lisa Wilcox, George Williams, and Linda Zhang, and they have all served as advisors to the USDF instructor trainer program. So it's a great program. I am a certified instructor through 4th level, so I really believe in the program, and I think that it's been a great thing for my career and my business. And to go through that it's a very hard program to pass. So it's fun to see them doing that. So thank you for all those instructors that have helped sort of guide the program over the last 25 years. So very exciting stuff.
Awesome. Well, the last piece of news here, I can't wait to get to. It looks like Totalist is back in competition.
Yay.
He scored 78.68 at the Capellan CDI 3-star Grand Prix. It was the first time in 2 years, and he's ridden by Matthias Alexander Rath. And I believe he won the class, and it was awesome. The only little thing that you might want to take note on, it was a little weird that I guess it was 5 judges, and he scored between 82.9 and 73.7%. So
yeah,
that was the only weird thing, huge spread, 10% that, we're trying. I think they're really working on eliminating that kind of stuff. But yeah, you got 2 judges, 2 different perspectives. Not much you can do
Absolutely.
about that. Everybody gets, all the judges get their opinion, and it kind of averages things out. But congratulations to Matthias Rath. Everybody's been waiting for Totalist to come back, and hopefully he
and he looks
sound
great
and healthy. And looks great, and such an amazing horse. And
it is. I YouTubed it. I have to be honest. I was curious, and so I YouTubed it. The beauty of, you have a little time sitting in a doctor's office, and I was Googling all kinds of stuff. But I looked at it.
Smartphone technology is that?
Love it. So he actually looks quite good. He looks better, I think, than he did with Matthias in the beginning. So that is awesome.
They've
that
had
is really
some time
cool.
to work out, the bumps and things. That's great. And
as everybody should. It takes a year to get to know a horse. So he was sort of thrown under the bus there.
It takes 2 years to get to know a Grand Prix horse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so fantastic. Hopefully we see them, in more upcoming competitions. He can go head to head with Charlotte Dujardin, and top scores. Everybody's pushing themselves to get higher and higher scores. It's awesome when a wonderful horse comes back to competition.
Exactly. So we wish everybody luck. It's fun to be, we root everybody on here, and it's always fun to see how it plays out. So we wish him luck. Well, right after this commercial break, we are going to talk with Hillary Moore Hebert, Senior Editor of Dressage Today, for our monthly Dressage Today update.
Are you tired of treating your horse for soreness? Well, then be proactive. Benefab offers you and your horse a natural remedy to joint and muscle stiffness, inflammation, and circulatory deficiencies. Benefab offers a variety of innovative products, like saddle pads and polo wraps and quarter sheets for your horse, and socks and blankets for you. Simply ride in it or wear it, and feel the difference Benefab's ceramic-infused products make. You can check them out online at benefabproducts.com, or you can call them toll-free at 855-957-8378.
Well, I am so excited to have Hillary Moore Hebert, Senior Editor from Dressage Today, on tonight. It is our favorite segment of the month. Hillary, welcome back.
Hi, guys.
We love having you on. We love just talking with you, and then we're like, oh, wait, we've got to actually do the segment.
We got to record some of this conversation,
we've got to record the conversation. So we love having you on, Philip, and I always look forward to it. So I think we're ready. Let's jump right in. What's our first tip from Dressage Today this month?
Okay, so the theme of this whole month is not doing so much, which I kind of like because it's 1,000 degrees here in Maryland, and I'm feeling very relaxed. I just would like to do as little as possible with the most results. I think as overachieving dressage riders, that's always nice to do every once in a while. So the first tip, and this is from the great master, Kira Kirkland. So we know that it's not just us being lazy. She talks about overriding your horse and how to avoid it. And her tip is to use your aids only when you feel the horse is beginning to disrespect them. Compare this to a kick sled or, a skateboard for those of us who are not in snowy countries right now. So that when you think about you get the desired speed that you need, you stop pushing and you only push again when it starts to slow down. I thought that was just a really simple, neat tip because we all have a tendency to kind of bicycle along. As Nicholas Fife in an upcoming trainer article said, we shouldn't ride our horses like bicycles that have to pedal all the time. You need to have the capacity to just sit there and enjoy the ride for a little bit.
Yeah,
this
is awesome. Yeah, I mean, the more ways you can say this, the more clear it becomes to people, and I think this is one of the foundations to what we do, and every time you get to reiterate this point, I think it's awesome. I'm always saying this, and it's always got to be in the back of our minds so that we don't have to work so hard. I mean, I try and tell people if you get to ride one horse a day, but if you had to ride 10 of them, how would you get it done? You would never have enough energy if you're helping the horse all the time. So I love it.
Touche. I don't have anything else to add. It's so true. I'm a huge proponent for it. And obviously, because, you ride 10 horses a day, you're tired. They can do some work too. I always tell my students, I'm like, you work, 8 hours a day for his 1 hour, maybe. So it's like he can work pretty hard for 1 hour. It won't kill anybody. So that's my take on it too. So love it.
And the aesthetic is so much better and so much pleasing, right?
Yeah.
Not even that you want to work less, but we're always looking to make it look pretty, right? So, yeah, this I think that's again a fundamental point.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of keeping things simple and kind of going back to basics, in my Dressage 101 section, again, making things easy. And this is how I approach the warm-up. I make things easy. And I have a lot of students who say, okay, I don't know what to do for my warm-up, and this is for anyone at any level. I recommend to them that they memorize the USDF Introductory Level Test C, because it challenges you to practice and improve your foundation movements, like the center line, which every single one of us should be capable of doing. Transitions, again, something we all need to do. And circles to start to warm your horse up in a way that's, just really helpful but not too complicated. So knowing this test by heart is a great go-to warm-up for you to have at home or at shows when you need just a simple structured plan to test that your horse is responsive and ready in all three gaits.
Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about warm-up plans before, and when you put it down to a test like that, that's a great plan. No matter what level the horse is, you always have to start somewhere. And so if you have a bit of a plan, a pattern to do that, that's awesome. I just want to add one thing is that your pattern has to have some purpose. You don't want to be just kind of wandering around it. You got to say, okay, this is a transition. It serves a purpose. My horse has to be kind of sharp off my aids. Whatever, your horse's issues are, maybe it needs to be a little bit more supple and bending. Use that pattern for a purpose to be bending on circles, straight on the center line, stuff like that. Not just wandering around. I see a little bit too much, the rider riding from point to point to point in the warm-up, but not really getting stuff done. So that would be my little comment on that. Reese, anything to add here?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And honestly, I'm going to go for even when you warm up at home. We in an earlier episode, Gina Smith talked about the warm-up pattern, and it's a very similar idea, Hillary. I mean, same idea. Everybody, you can go back on the website and look it up. It's Gina Smith's warm-up plan. Very similar idea. Yours actually adds in center lines, which I think is a really great thing to also remember. We forget those center line scores add up quickly. There's 2 in every test, minimally.
There's two of them in every test.
And even in first level, really every level you're going to be doing stuff around the center line. So it's super to practice. But I even think, I find myself even in warm up, I start thinking about a phone call I was on or whatever, and I start wandering and so I have gone to the warm up pattern as almost every horse does it, because very similar idea at home as well, because when I didn't do it, I was finding myself wandering around kind of doing whatever and taking 10 or 15 minutes to sort of get to the nitty gritty. And I have taught a ton of students this idea, and it is great. I cannot, and you can make it your own too. This is even better because it's a test. You memorize it. And we all know when we're busy at shows and nervous, it's just great to have something memorized that you can do. So
yeah, you fall back into the groove. Yeah. And the horse appreciates it as well, it as well, because, they're also stressy at the show, but you get them into the groove of that warm-up pattern that you've practiced every day. And they're like, oh yeah, I know this. And then you just kind of get it done. And like I said, you get into the groove, and then you can move on to whatever specific things maybe you want to warm up for your horse and your show and your level. But you got to have something to fall back on when it's all going. It's all going screwy.
It's not going. Yeah, it's not. Everything feels weird.
Well, you have to have a plan for it to go to plan, right? So
I love it. And perfect. Hillary, I've got to compliment you again. Your Dressage 101 tips are great. I'm still using the diamond. I just used it in a lesson this afternoon. So everybody, you need to read Hillary's Dressage 101 in Dressage Today, because it is great. I'm looking forward to it now every magazine. So keep it up. I'm going to give Hillary a props on that for sure.
Well, and I think, I just want to go back to what we talked about in terms of the center line, because I have found that the more that I've practiced it with this warm-up, there's a couple things that I noticed that happen. The first is the leg yields become easier. So you start to focus on, really getting that straightness out of the turn. And people say, okay, we're talking about intro and training level, and I'm not supposed to be practicing my 10-meter voltes yet, but maybe so, but everybody has to do that turn off and on center line, and it starts to shrink the bending line for you smaller than those 20-meter circles that you're riding, so that you're much sooner preparing what is expected of you when it's time to do the first level work. So I really like it for that reason. And then the other reason is I noticed before I did this, there could become times with some of the upper level horses that if I was doing a turn onto center line for a half pass, I'd sort of, would get to that point if I wasn't at a show and realize that was kind of the first time I had turned onto center line to get into the half pass. And I didn't feel as balanced, and I wish I'd kind of just gotten it out of the way a little bit sooner, gotten the horse a bit more collected with the transition that you need with the halted X. Then when you turn onto center line, again, as in the leg yield, the half pass becomes easier because you kind of worked out your straightness and balance issues first before having it sort of presented first when you're in a moment that's one of the more challenging at the level that you're at.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no reason why you can't lay down your fundamentals every day. First thing, use it as a warm up to do your center line. It's only a little quarter of a 10-meter circle kind of thing. It's not like it's a full 10-meter circle or a half of one. So it's good to start thinking about those things, building strength in your horse's hind legs, connection, straightness. A little turn off the outside rein. It's perfect. It's it's just all the horses need it, all the levels need it, right?
Yeah,
like we said.
exactly.
So there you go.
Well, and I think just the idea of kind of thinking ahead. I think some people get stuck in, I'm showing training level, I'm showing first level. Well, in training in first level, you're sort of working and showing at the same level. But after that, once you're in first level, you should, be thinking about second level work at home. Same thing with second level. You're showing second level, you should be working toward third level at home. So just this idea of kind of looking ahead and knowing, this is going to help me with this is super important. And sometimes when it's your first go around, first time training a horse, you don't sort of see the forest for the trees. That's where good trainers and friends come in handy, because they can see the forest for the trees and say, okay, this is really important to work on your center lines, not only for the test, but for balance on things that you're going to have later. So just a good reminder to always be sort of thinking ahead as well.
Mm-hmm.
So love it. What's our next one?
So speaking of, moving up the levels, so then as we go onward and upward, you need to start thinking about, real uphill balance in a horse. And Candy Allen talked about this in her What I'd Wished I'd Known Then, and I thought it was great because she was saying that some people will say that, to really get quality uphill balance, you need to buy it. And she says not so. And I liked this tip because, again, it reminds me of summer and it's starting to get warmer. So she said that a good way to get real uphill balance from any horse is to think about him coming over his back like a wave forming if you were sitting at the beach, and that the energy of the water is pushing from behind, causing the waves to come up and around like a horse's energy pushes from behind up and over his back and down his neck. And I thought that was really neat to just have that visual that, again, it's not just confirmation. You can develop that energy and build it, and that's a nice feeling of creating that power in what direction it goes in as you create that, as, again, we talked about, moving up the levels as you're working on things.
Awesome. I mean, this is why I like these little articles and our discussion every month is because, these are no surprises, but they're, a different way to think about the same concepts, right? As trainers, we need a lot of different vocabulary to teach different people and to reiterate concepts. And all the time, if you're just saying the same thing and the person's not getting it, then you got to come up with different tools in different ways. So this gives, I know Reese loves it, I love it, all different ways to help people. But if people are already reading these things and they come across this, then there, maybe, a little light bulb can go off for somebody on a concept that their own coach has been saying this for a long time, and then get new ideas and not different concepts, same concepts, but just, working uphill, doing a wave. I mean, that sounds, or thinking about a wave, that's great. Maybe not a tsunami wave, not so big and powerful, but every horse is a little different in how you want to develop these things. And And I like how the visual of the wave kind of cresting, and that's up in the pole, and this is cool. Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great visual. Love it. I think anytime you can think about that idea of uphill structure, you're going to need it pretty much after a training level. Your first level, they even say, an uphill tendency. So I think it's a really good idea. And just that idea, I know that all three of us, I talk about activity behind all day long. So it's great to talk about it and carry on. So love it.
Yeah, that water pushing the wave. I love that more and more as I think about it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hillary. That's awesome. What's next? What else you got here?
Okay, so still speaking of water, but in a totally different direction. We had the very lucky privilege of getting a huge interview with British Olympian and gold medalist Carl Hester. So, of course, we gave him an extraordinary 8 pages of the magazine because he's unbelievable and everything he talked about was so cool. And I thought it was really neat because he got to talk about his upcoming Dressage Star Dances with Wolves that maybe not all of the listeners are as familiar with as his Olympic mount. But I thought it was really interesting because you sort of imagine, okay, here's this unbelievable rider. He probably has all these perfect horses, and, how can he have struggles? And again, sort of going back to simple problems and simple answers, he said that Dances with Wolves is just a massive horse. And back to the water reference, he said that when things got really hard, he felt like it wasn't dressage anymore. He felt like he was just water skiing. He said that, just it made him really test him physically to ride the horse. But, he just said that his horses hack and they all get cantered around the fields and they all get turned out. And so even though Dances with Wolves was very, very strong, and I'm sure probably still is, he said that he expects his horses to fit in. So, out the horse went, and he said he didn't want to make any concessions for him, and so he's been out hacking through the hedges, and he's done it all, and he's come out on the other side, and he has to be a normal horse if he's going to cope with the pressures of competing. So he's, making sure that Dances with Wolves stays in program like all the others. I thought it was interesting because I thought to think that here is his possible leg mount, and what he struggles with is that this horse is just very strong and hot-headed, and, the struggle and the answer is turn him out, take him hacking, treat him like any other horse. And as you all are aware, he's been doing very well with him. So I thought that was a very interesting thing to hear, that that's something that goes all the way up to the top with how people deal with things and, the issues that they're dealing with all those horses.
Well, and he's extraordinary. To listen to him and Charlotte Desjardins, who I just really like the way that they think of their horses and what they do with their horses and how they, they just have a really great sense of these are horses and they need to go outside and they need to hack. I think they hack at least twice a week on the roads. And you read all their stuff and you're like, okay, this makes sense. Having a tractor come up behind you on a country road isn't that different than a golf cart at the Kentucky Horse Park during the WEG, So I think it's really cool how they look at these horses and how they handle them. So I try to read everything that comes out of their yard in England, because I think they really have a cool sense of how to create really, really neat Grand Prix horses that aren't in a bubble. And you don't have to, I remember there was a rider at the WEG, literally at the WEG, that essentially shushed the crowd, like didn't want anybody to make any noise. And it was like, what is happening? Like, this could happen at a world championships. Like, our horses should be used to hooping and hollering and having a good time because we want people to come. And these are international horses. And these horses have very, very different pressures than a lot of other horses, showing at night, showing under lights, showing under jumbotrons. This is all stuff that they have to get used to. So I love it that they don't put them in a bubble, because I think they really recognize at the end of the day, it's not going to help them have the best performance. So that was a great article too. Like I said, I just love everything that comes out of there and really respect what they do there. So I enjoyed it a lot.
And I think, to finish off with my last tip, coming from him, again, making it simple, but this time talking about, really respecting yourself and all of your students and everything. When asked why his training was so successful or is so successful, his answer was that he doesn't work so hard that he doesn't have a life. And he always remembers that. And he never gets so busy making a living that he forgets to make a life. And he said that he really loves that saying, and it's so true. And that Utopia and Vallegro won their first Grand Prix at 9 years old with a 70%. And it sounds as though they're working really hard, the horses are working hard, but that's not, necessarily the case. He said that they train 4 days a week, and it's about, really getting them fit. But it's also about having a process in place and then enjoying things so that, it's simple, that the system has a lot to do with the lifestyle of the horse and, treating them as animals and thinking about your students and treating them as students and realizing, the horse is not a computer and, that when horses or students work hard for you, that you need to, respect that and not just make them, be 25 hours a day kind of work. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I think that he has created a lifestyle for himself. And I think that's always a nice reminder coming from three trainers. I'm sure, your trainer deserves a life too. It's everybody's pleasure, but it is our job. So I always work on that. And I think it's always a nice reminder that Carl Hester, he has a life. And I think that that's important to allow all your trainers to have a life at some point. You know what I mean?
And your horses.
And your horses.
Well, I think that was really well said, guys. You did a great job, summing up those articles. I mean, I can't say anything more. All good concepts. I think Carl Hester, I think, it comes down to just having perspective about our sport and perspective for the horses and how they live their lives and how he lives his life. It can all too easily get wrapped up in all this dressage thing, but when you think about it, it's only dancing around with horses. It's not always life and death. It's hardly ever life and death, as a matter of fact. So it's good to be able to take a step back, look at it, and make sure the horses are having fun, the people are having fun, students are having fun, trainers are having fun. I think everybody does a better job when we're enjoying what we do. So it's okay to be just take a step back and maybe have a drink once in a while. I know that's how I feel about it as well. So that's great. That's really nice articles, really great tips, Hillary, as usual. I can't wait till next month to see what's going on with Dressage Today magazine. Thanks for coming on again.
Mm-hmm.
And Hillary, how do our listeners find you online?
You can check us out at dressagetoday.com, as well as finding us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Pinterest.
Well, right after this commercial break, we're going to come back with Emily Abate. She is an FEI trainer and rider in Wellington, Florida, and she also runs a sales business. And we're going to talk a little bit about our pet peeves on sales videos.
Do you have a company in the horse world? Are you looking to get the word out about your products, services, or shows? At the Horse Radio Network, we understand our advertisers need to reach the equestrian consumer in the most efficient, cost-effective way possible. Internet radio shows like this one, also called podcasts, allow the flexibility and creativity to craft unique messages that stand out from the herd and reinforce your existing marketing and social media strategies. If you want to learn more about advertising on this show or any of our shows on the Horse Radio Network, contact us at Glenn with 2 N's at horseradionetwork.com, or you can call us at 859-951-2022. Our listeners are terrific, engaged, and avid horse people, the ones that you are looking for.
Well, it is so exciting to have Emily Abate, FEI rider and trainer. She owns a sales business in Wellington, Florida, on this evening for our trainer tip. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, we have been friends and known each other for many, many years. We used to do the Conrad Schumacher clinics in Chicago, and I'm really excited now. You live in Wellington and you have a big business selling horses. So when we were talking and kind of creating our trainer tip, we talked about just how to create a good sales video, and I think a lot of people, this can go badly quickly. And, I think just the whole process can be very daunting, and I find it very emotional. You want to sell your horse, you make the decision, and you want it done the next day, and sometimes it doesn't happen like that. So help us, put some light, shed some light on this topic. How do you go about making a sales video? How do you present your horse in the best way that you can?
Well, that's an awesome question. The biggest problem is, first off, there are so many sales videos out there. Some are wonderful and beautiful to watch, and others are just horrendous, to be honest. And it has nothing to do with the quality of the horse or the quality of the rider.
Horse. Yeah, that's
nothing to do. That's the bad
yeah,
thing.
that's the terrible part about it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, number one is, for me, don't make it too long. And, people's, especially now with, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all of these things, people's attention span is literally about 2 minutes. So most horses, even a Grand Prix horse, can be shown through most of their work in about 2 minutes. And really, the sales video is designed to capture people's attention, not necessarily sell the horse, right? You sell the horse and they come to the farm and they sit on him and meet the personality and all of that fun stuff. So the sales video is just to capture the attention and say, okay, maybe I want to go see this horse. So you want to show the best parts of that horse. You can talk with this prospective owner when they come and say, well, he's schooling Prix St. George, but maybe he needs a little work on this, this, and this. That's the time to do that. If he's maybe struggling with some extension work, don't show the extension work. This is not necessarily saying that you're going to not show them that he needs a little work on this, but you want to, present the horse in the best light at that moment that you can. So pick 5 things that this horse is really good at. It can be a 3-year-old and it can be a Grand Prix horse. It doesn't really matter. Every horse has something they're very good at, and every horse has something they're not so good at. So that's number one for me. Not too long, and definitely keeping it positive. Everything's positive. If you have a horse that's really, really quiet and just easy, ride it in the field for the video. I have no problem with that. Put a little snippet at the end of it trotting and cantering in the field. That will help buyers know, okay, what type of horse am I really getting with this? And does this fit what I need? I know you guys did another show about, figuring out what you really need in a new horse and a new partner. So that's my first number one. The other one is quality of video. It's so enticing to take a video with a phone. And we've all done that. I've done that. But the biggest thing is to get as high a quality video camera as you can get. There's so many nice digital cameras that have an HD option. And so I would go that route and have someone, doesn't have to be a horse person, preferably it's a horse person, but it doesn't have to be. Somebody that can take a nice video, kind of do a little zooming in, zooming out. So it's not just, you disappearing to the other end of the arena and the horse is 2 inches big now.
Good point. Yeah.
So,
Yes,
keep it, because that, again, that's eating up your time. You need to show the horse as best as possible and edit your video. Edit. Everybody, I think, feels, especially because most trainers and most riders and owners are very honest, and they feel like, well, it wasn't a great transition, but he kind of does that sometimes, so I'll just leave it in. And really edit your videos. Make them as positive and fun and enjoyable to watch. This is a personal preference. I don't necessarily always do it, but I think a lot of prospective buyers do appreciate it, is showing a quick little snapshot, either the beginning or the end of the video, of the horse without tack on. Just so they can see the confirmation, especially if this is like an out-of-state client, that, they're spending a lot of money, a lot of time to come down, fly down, stay in hotels, look at the horses. I think it's important that they're able to see a little confirmation.
When I, as a professional, so I'm looking for horses for people. You're absolutely right. 2 minutes is sort of the max for me.
Yeah, I find myself zooming through stuff or just, finding on the YouTube bar, okay, now he's cantering, click on that.
Yeah, click on.
Okay, now he's walking, click on that, right?
Yeah.
And I do make my decision within the first 30 seconds. Kind of like,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, marketing geniuses have this all, the advertising down to a pat. You might, think about a few of these things at least when you're making your video and advertising your horse and that kind of thing. So it's good that we can offer a little bit of expertise, from trainer's perspective, from a seller's perspective, from buyer's perspective. Yeah. If you were a buyer, what would you want to see of your horse, or what?
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Exactly. Yeah. The other thing that I found really helpful, and I suggest this to anyone that is selling, whether it's a baby horse or a finished horse, if you aren't comfortable as a rider, if you're the owner and you're not comfortable being on video, and that makes you nervous, then have your trainer ride the horse for the video, or have a friend ride the horse for the video. It needs to feel very soft and comfortable and easy, and again, very enjoyable to watch. If you're just generally like a little self-conscious and you just don't want to be on the video, that's totally okay. Just find there are plenty of riders in most areas that are willing to come out for just a simple day trip fee, and you can do a whole video. They'll ride the horse as long or as short as you want, and just maybe to present the horse in the best light possible. I'm personally not a fan of using show videos as sale videos. I think it's trying to accomplish something with the wrong avenue. Show videos are wonderful, and I like to use clips sometimes. If you have just a beautiful test, right, and the horse is showing and you want to present that, that's totally fine. But don't put the whole test on,
right.
on
edit it down
on
to the good stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in because I'm kind of the other way around. If it's a good test, I don't mind seeing the test, actually, because then I myself, like if I see an actual horse show, I may actually watch it. I'm certainly not going to watch it.
Yeah. But I think recently, have a second video in your back pocket, so that I can look at the good stuff, and then say, you know what, email the person, I'm interested. Do you have a little more video or something? And then they can, when you're trying to weed out the different horses, I think, Emily's got a good idea. Keep it short, keep it simple, and then have a little more in your back pocket if you want, right?
Exactly.
Have a short, concise thing, and then a little bit more. Maybe a few more confirmation shots, but again, like you said, Emily, you just want to get that person's interest, like, oh, that looks good, okay.
Right.
Without cutting it too short, I'd like to be able to see a walk, trot, and canter, a little bit that free rein,
agree.
good walk. I mean, if you're saying that my horse is shit walk, I'm not going to show that on a video.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to go, they did not show a single step of walk. It obviously is terrible.
Yeah.
If it is bad, if it is bad, I can say, okay, well, that's how bad it is, right? Or, maybe I'll be interested in the horse enough to say, do you have some video that I could see the walk in? So that's it.
Right.
I have a couple of pet peeves. One of them is slow motion video. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, don't do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys did the same thing. Good. I don't know who they're advertising to, but slow motion doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, no, don't do it.
Right. It doesn't, especially from a trainer's standpoint. Yeah. Our eyes are trained enough to see the biomechanics of the horse. We don't need to see how the foot falls on the ground. So while it's maybe a little artistic and okay, I get where you're going with that, but ultimately it doesn't really help us. And most trainers will just sort of skip over it.
Yeah, again, that's where the YouTube bar kind of helps me out a lot. Yeah. No slow motion video.
The other thing that we don't do in our barn, which a lot of barns do, which is totally cool, and I have no problem with it. This is, again, personal preference. The video should reflect you and your horse and the atmosphere that the horse is used to being in, right? So if you're selling a pleasure type lower level dressage horse that's very safe, goes to the horse show, is very easy, comfortable, don't try to present him like a Grand Prix horse. That's just not who he is. So, highlight him. He doesn't necessarily have to be braided. Some people braid for the videos. I have no problem with that. But, you want the feel of the video to reflect the horse that you're selling. So that's kind of a big thing for me. I don't like, and you guys actually may have different ideas about this, I don't like polo wraps in video. I want to see the legs. I want to be able to see how it goes. So for me, the horse show without polos, it's not going to hurt the horse for to school for 15 or 20 minutes, without polos at home. That's just a personal preference. I'd be curious to see what you guys think about that.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't bother me really.
Yeah, either way, it doesn't bother me because I'm gonna go see the horse. You know, I have 30 seconds. I'm gonna decide: do I like that horse? Do I not? Am I gonna watch more? Am I gonna find out? Are there other videos? Because of course, then I'm gonna go to YouTube and Google the horse's name and the rider's name, you know, and do some more research on the horse.
Yeah.
You know, so that for me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think if, you know, preference, I'm also the same, braided, not braided. I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't even care when I go look at horses if they're braided. I mean, I kind of feel like
clean is good.
Clean is nice.
Clean is
but
good,
I don't care about braided. Braided doesn't. And to me, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I know that when you know, it looks very professional if you braid when somebody comes to look at your horse, but not something that I really care about. But I will tell you what my pet peeve is if I'm looking for horses and I'm finally in my office and I'm technically billing the person for the hour in which I'm sitting down.
Right.
If all the information is not online, that drives me crazy. You know, you put an ad up without a picture, or you put an ad up without a video, and I have to then send a video or send an email send a video from, you know, that drives me crazy. Like, just if you're going to put your horse up for sale, get all your ducks in a row is my opinion.
I agree.
You know, get your pictures, get your video, get all your information, what you want to say about the horse. Answer the emails. It drives me crazy if I found a horse and I am chasing the trainer. I'm like, what is going on? You're trying to sell me something. So that's a big pet peeve for me too, is if the trainer, you know, nobody gets back to me in a timely manner. I'm not saying in the next 30 seconds, like, you know, I like to give people,
24 to 48 hours is very doable.
So very doable for, you know, and if it's a horse, there's a lot of interest, you know. But the other thing is, I will tell you that if you like the horse, I have a lot of clients that'll sort of hem and haw and watch the video, but there are times that if that's a desirable horse, you need to get on the list and you need to make a phone call and don't wait around. You know, make your phone call, watch your video a couple times, and, you know, really, it never hurts to sort of educate your eye by watching the video. Multiple videos, you know, go online and watch videos, or go to there's a lot of sites where there are people and, you know, their horses for sale. Educate your eye a little bit. And so I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. What are you looking for? You know, what level you're looking for? What's the price range? You know, and then you get a few horses in that kind of range, and you can, I mean, we're complaining a lot, but like the technology is awesome. You know, for us to be able to do this. You know, think about the days where you're like, "Can you please send me a VHS tape?" And,
oh my gosh!
You know, so we're really being picky here, but you know, as the technology improves, people expect a certain thing. I remember I used to pay somebody to do the videos, right, for me, because they had all the editing software. You know, we got a lot of software and great hardware to be able to do this stuff. But if you do your video and it doesn't look great, there's still lots of people who will do it professionally and probably do a pretty good job and have a competitive price, you know, and to help you out a little bit with this. If you don't have a trainer that's done a lot of videos, or, you know, you're just trying to sell, you know, even if you're selling a 2-year-old, you know, it's worth having a nice video, right? If you just shoot something that the horse is running around in the field being chased by a lunge, I've seen lots of these. You know, and the horse is running around the person's trying to lunge the horse while videoing. You did a terrible job, you know, and think, you know, did I really show my horse off to the best of what he looks like, or am I just sending this out and hoping the person is going to like the horse? You know, it's competitive in the sales market these days more than ever.
Absolutely.
And so, maybe it's worth spending $100 to get somebody out, edit the video, make it look nice, and they have a little expertise in that. So I think it's great. And one more point I was going to make is if the horse is, you know, you're advertising it as a certain this level horse, show some of that stuff. Like, pick out what's important. Like, if you're advertising the horse as a third level horse and it's only shown second level, well, don't try and do a flying change. But if it is a third level horse, you better show me a good flying change each direction.
Agreed.
Because that's what distinguishes a second level horse from a third level horse. A flying change each way and a little half pass. And the half pass. That's the difference, right? Or a little pirouette, you know. Like you said, like if it's not great, maybe save that video or whatever. But, you know, I'm going to call up and say, you know, is this a third level horse? Does it do a change each way?
Right.
And if it doesn't, it isn't a third level horse.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Right.
I have no problem if I'm looking for a client, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I have no problem if I'm talking to the trainer and they're like, we're schooling the changes. They're 80% right now.
Right.
I get that. That's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
If you can say it's a solid second level horse and we're working on these things, that's totally fine. But to say, like, you're totally right, to say it's third level or try to show it as a third level horse in the video, and then it just looks like a bad quality third level horse rather than a really, really good quality second level horse that's starting to move up.
You're not going to fool anyone. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to fool
Anymore.
anyone. So you might as well say it's a wonderful second level horse, got some great scores at second level. Perfect. Then I say, okay, great. Maybe when I'm looking at this horse, I have to say, okay, with my client, we've got to work on the changes. They're not great. That's totally fine. But to say it's third level and it did one change from right to left once ever, it's not even really schooling third level, is it?
Right. I agree.
Be honest.
I agree.
Be honest.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
So again, you need a little bit of experience to, and when you're advertising the horse, be honest about it. Be honest at what level it's done or that it's doing, and because the only thing that you do when you get somebody out to look at your horse and it's not what you said it was, is you just piss somebody off and you get a bad rep, or they're not going to come back to look at another horse for you. Or if it's I have certain trainers I like. I went to see this one horse and they said it was this and it wasn't that. I'm worried about going back to that farm. Really, it's a small world. Yeah. I talk to Reese. I say, hey Reese, this is horse in Kentucky. They're saying it's this. And then Reese will go, well,
maybe not.
So,
maybe so. Maybe,
Great points, guys. Great discussion.
Love it.
I need
Love
to get
it.
that. I hope you can feel I need to get a little bit of that off my chest about the slow motion.
Yes. Yes. It's
you feel
true.
better now?
Philip, it feels he's been to therapy.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about that.
I wanted to make one more point as far as the videos go, and this is true when people come to see your horse as well, and I'm sure you guys have discussed this, but and this should be strictly also from a training standpoint, which I know you guys will agree on. The tack has to fit.
Yes.
If you've got straps hanging down and the flash is too big and the noseband is pulling down on the nose, and first off, it makes the horse look less quality than it is. It may have a beautiful facial structure, but if the bridle is not fitted, it's going to totally change the line. And also saddle pads have to be clean, and they also have to fit properly. If you have a really, really small saddle pad on a really big horse, it makes him look fat. And if you have a really big saddle pad on a really tiny horse, it makes him look smaller. And rather than being petite and pretty, it makes him look small and weak. So, you think about these things. Think about the visual idea of really, take a snapshot of your horse with its tack on and show it to people that don't know the horse.
Yeah, and let them just kind of take a look at it. Stepping back, making a little perspective. If I was, this is not my horse anymore. If I was kind of looking at this, what kind of impression am I sending? That kind of thing. Yeah. Good, great points.
Love it. Well, Emily, how do our listeners find you online if they need any more advice?
It's very easy. My website is emilyabate.com. My email's on there, and my email is just emily@emilyabate.com. Very easy. You can Google me if you forget the web address. I'll be the first one that comes up. And you guys my phone number's on there as well. So if you happen to be in Florida and you're looking for some horses, you're more than welcome to come visit us and see what we have.
Well, Reese, that was a great opportunity, very cathartic for me to get a little bit off my chest. I feel a little bit bad because I feel like we're harping on people about the videos. I mean, the videos don't really have to be perfect, but if you follow a few simple tips and you think about, what you would like to see about your horse and highlighting your horse, I think we'll get a few better videos out there at least anyways, right?
Well, it will definitely lead to less laughing when I'm looking for horses. And less
laughing and frustration, yeah.
And frustration. So I am glad.
Because, half the time I think, wow, this is a great horse. Oh, I wish the video was better,
Oh, or I have to email and say, oh, can you please send me another video? And, you don't want to do that. You really want to present, just like anything, like it's essentially an interview. And you want to think that this is your horse is being interviewed and you want to present them in the best light. Be organized, be prepared, and you'll be fine. And you're selling a cool horse. So it's all good. So love it.
Let's not whine too much, okay?
Exactly.
Well, I guess before we finish the show, we got a listener email, which is great. Love these listener emails. This email is from Linda, and I'm just going to kind of get to the pertinent points here. She says she's mainly a trail rider, and at no time in the near future has the money for dressage lessons. But she thinks it would be a good idea for her 17-year-old kind of trail horse to work on some flat work, and I agree, it's a great idea. So hopefully we can help you with a couple of your questions here. Getting down to it, she feels like she's working harder than her horse is to keep him going, especially in areas around the gate or in the arena. She says he's great on the trail, but gets a little pokey in the arena or when working on her flat work. Here's the questions. To keep him going, do I keep my leg on? Do I rhythmically bump with my legs? Or do I ask for the next gate to get his attention? Two-part question. The second part is about relaxation. She feels he's a naturally pretty relaxed horse who travels with his neck in a horizontal plane, more or less. Is this relaxation, or should she be looking for something more? So, first part, how to get him, a little bit more peppy, more excited. Second part, relaxation. What do you think, Reese?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and actually, I think of the 5 lessons I taught today, 3 were about this topic. It's a pretty common topic, and I am not a fan of the rhythmically bumping. I don't actually know. I don't, that's not how I do it. So I can't answer that part of the question. But for me, we try to keep our horses in front of our leg at all times. So, and we want to make sure that
in front of your leg. What does that mean? In front of your leg, Reese?
That's a great
Break
question.
it down for me.
Break it down. So when you put your leg on your horse, there needs to be a response. And if there's not a response, you need to create a response. And so when you so whatever aid you're giving, for me, I like to put my leg on. And if nothing happens, the horse does not move or respect or move away from my leg or whatever I'm asking, that horse needs to do that. So And so I will come with a stronger aid. So start with a light aid. That's how we want him to go. That's how we want him to respond. If he doesn't respond, I'm going to go with a heavier aid until the horse responds. So I am getting his or her attention to the fact that I'm asking them a question. So that's a really big thing for me. So I put my leg on. The horse doesn't respond. I give him a bigger kick. And if he doesn't respond to that, if I have a whip, I will tap them with the whip until they respond. As soon as they respond, you release. That's the, hey, good job, way to go. And then you go back and ask again. Starting from the light leg aid and moving to the stronger aid. Yeah. So that's for me, that is in getting a horse in front of my leg. So when I put my leg on, that pony is moving. So, and my ponies move a lot. I mean, I hate horses, when I put my leg on, I want some fire. And every person's a little bit different. I don't train my amateur horses necessarily to be that quick off my leg, but, because their owners maybe can't stay with them. So it depends. There's some level of that, but that's how I do it. And Philip, I'm sure you're pretty close to what I just described. How do you feel?
We've watched each other's horses going, so we know how they go, and we like hot horses. Again, we go back to a little bit of the tip we talked about with Hillary today, Kira Kirkland. We don't want to work too hard when we're up there. So I think rhythmically bumping is a lot of hard work. That means as long as your horse is moving, you're working, right? And I don't like that. So the idea is, I halt the horse, I touch it with my leg. If it's a little touch, he goes to walk. If it's a little stronger touch, he goes to trot, and he stays in that, let's call it a quick trot, quick walk, quick canter, until I slow him down.
Yeah.
Not he goes to the slowest gait until I speed him up. Okay, so I think we answered the getting the horse going or moving him on a little bit, getting him a little bit more rhythmical and excited in the arena. Second part is a little bit about the relaxation and the neck on a horizontal plane. How would you answer this, Reese?
Yeah, I think you and I were talking before we got on air. I'm not exactly sure what our listeners are referring to, so I kind of need a little bit more information. But basically, because of the comment, it's hard to know. I've seen hunters with a neck on a horizontal plane, so not at all on the bit, that honestly aren't relaxed. So I think the neck is a little bit of a tricky.
It's tough to
thing.
gauge it by one position or one thing about the horse.
Exactly.
I think relaxation is about an overall thing. How the horse feels. I mean, I have a feeling about this horse that if it's a little bit if it's a little bit lazy, and that it probably is, the neck is pretty much horizontal. It probably is relaxed. It probably is a little too relaxed, actually.
Right. We need to jazz
if I'm
him
trying
up
to
a little.
picture this thing in my mind, not this thing, but this horse in my mind, and this idea. So, yeah, Linda, your horse is probably relaxed. I think you have an overall feeling about him.
I also, I also look at my horse's ears. Are the horse's ears, kind of flopping? That's a big one. It's important to look at your horse's eyes. If your horse is spooking, I guarantee his eyes are bugging out of his head.
It's not really relaxed. I mean, relaxation is an overall theme and picture, and there's a lot of parts that come into relaxation. But if he's not running around, he's not spooking. He's probably relaxed enough. Probably needs to be woken up a little bit and moved on, and be just probably a little bit less relaxed and a little bit more worried about what his job is. So, I think that's the impression that I get. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Of course, relaxation is very important in the horse, but also kind of a little bit more of a workman-like attitude is there's different degrees of relaxation. So. Get working on the forward stuff. I think that's my piece of advice here, and you'll be okay. And
agreed.
And I think she says just at the end of this email, my apologies if these questions are too basic for the show.
No,
there's no question too basic for the show.
No question that are too basic. And I was just going to say real quickly, going back to your horse kind of, not being in front of the aids, more than likely, if we just sort of go back to that pyramid of training, which we talk about a lot, and it's a really good thing. You need to understand it. So when you're out in the ring by yourself, you can sort of diagnose problems. That's what really trainers are trained to do. But, if you think, okay, I can't get my horse by the gate, you probably have a rhythm problem. Yeah. Just basic. Yeah. I have a rhythm problem. So I need to work that my horse will go around the ring in rhythm. And then if you go on the scale, relaxation is the next one. So then you can gauge, if you have a rhythm problem, you probably have a relaxation problem. So, you can kind of gauge things a little bit better that way. So,
I mean, I think, again, just going back to the pyramid, just for a quick second, it has to be the right rhythm and the right relaxation.
Right.
Right? Both of them. Not just, you can, talk about relaxation as part of the pyramid, but it doesn't mean the horse should be asleep while you're trying to work it in a dressage test. I mean, you see lots of nice dressage tests that are a little bit too relaxed and not showing the horse working. So hopefully that helped out a little bit, Linda. I mean, if you want to write us another email and
give us an
talk
update.
a little
We'd
more,
love it.
that's great. We love our listeners to give us topics to talk about, to think about. So
exactly.
Great.
So good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, everybody, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. You can like us on Facebook. Just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week for allowing us to put on a great show. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you next week.